let me share my screen here. All right, so it's 1 o'clock, so I'm gonna say let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here today. I am here with Natalia from the Academic Advancement Programs Office, and I am Jessica from SARC. So we are here to talk to you about planning beyond your bachelor's degree. If you are wanting to attend graduate school, maybe medical school, or any sort of professional school and continuing education, this workshop is for you. Natalia, if you want to give a little intro.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to see you here. So as Jessica mentioned, my name is Natalia Toro, and I am the Assistant Director in Academic Advancement Programs. And we're going to talk about my office in this presentation just briefly. But what we do is that we help students prepare for grad school. And I always say our goal is not only for them to get into grad school, is to get into grad school funded, right? So we want you to be great candidates. But I'm excited. Thank you so much to SARC for inviting us to participate in this workshop with them.
Yes, no problem at all. I did also want to note that we just dropped a Qualtrics in the chat. This is for if you need attendance verification, or if you just want to let us know how we're doing. The survey takes 1 minute to fill out. So just that's for you there for at the end of the workshop. So we're going to go ahead and get started.
All right, so I'm going to get started. So we have a number of offices within student learning and academic success that our focus is to help students find experiences that will give them the edge, that will give them what they need in order to prepare them for their postgraduate goals. You know, whether that is a job or that is grad school or professional school. So we have many offices. A lot of times this is connected with high impact practices. But in general, we want you to be prepared for that next opportunity that happens after UCF. I'm going to talk about the specific offices a little later on.
In the Student Academic Resource Center, or SARC as we like to call ourselves, we offer free academic support services for all UCF students, from peer tutoring to ACE coaching to online support. We are here to help you succeed in your courses. Y'all can go ahead and type in the chat. I just want to know how many of you have used SARC resources before, and if you have, what were they? And if you haven't, you're at your first SARC resource now. So congratulations, you're well on your way. No, nothing. Okay, well.
What about AAP? I mean, that's really, I know a lot of students don't even know what our office, but anyone use academic advancement programs?
Oh, this is your first, Patrick.
All right, well, we're excited.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Well, we're going to go a little bit more in depth about what services both of our offices offer in just a little bit, but we wanted to make sure we were representing out here.
All right, so we're going to have a little conversation about this, but, you know, I want to know, I'm interested to know, why did you come to UCF, right? Like, what was your goal, ultimate goal, or you can talk about several goals. So if you can chat this, but why do you decide to go to college?
And also
have some participation.
I was going to say, sorry, feel free to unmute your mic as well if you don't want to type in the chat.
Anyone? I can share why I decided to go to college. My decision was really, I always kind of knew I had to go. And in my thought, somewhere far away, it's like college will open up opportunities, right? For jobs or whatever that next step is. And I think that I would say that for most students, right? Yes, we want to learn and we want that college experience, but we hope that at the end of the rainbow of college, of your college experience, that there's something that you're trying to get out, like we talked about, right? So your degree is kind of like a vehicle to something else, right? And so we say here your degree and academic support, right? So that you need to get that degree, plus what other experiences will help you achieve that goal. That's the way that we think about this presentation, right? So to get that degree, you will need to succeed academically, right? Whatever that means to you. And what other things will make you competitive so that you are a great candidate for whatever comes next, right? And I have in the chat, I would like to share, I decided to go to UCF because it's a good relationship with NASA. And exactly, right? So we are trying to use this experience, which we hope is the best possible for whatever it is that your goal is, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Sorry. Ooh. There we go.
All right, so this is kind of what we talked about. You get your degree, academics, and grades, and don't forget all the different resources that we have. I don't know if you want to add anything else to this slide, Jessica.
Yeah, I was going to say, honestly, career services and experiential learning. Those are two big ones that we're going to talk a little bit more about later. But those are some great offices. Career services, they do resume critiques, they do practice interviews, they do cover letter references. They also do a lot of, they give you, tips and tricks for all of these. They have a bunch of different, action verb worksheets. They have many, many workshops, building interview skills. That just go ahead and check out their website. They have a lot throughout the semester for you all on top of those career fairs and those internship fairs that I'm sure you hear all about. They have many, many other services that will help you in your future and kind of going with your academic support, your professional development as well.
All right, so we are this presentation is organized in this way. We're gonna talk about these things and how these 4 things will help you be the best candidate that you can be for the next step. So 1, start with the end in mind, get academic support, build your network and gain experiences, and then market yourself. And we're actually gonna, again, as we've talked about, connect you. So this will be practical in that we will tell you which offices and resources are available at UCF to help you do this.
All right. Also, so we just like for you to walk away with something physical from this workshop. So I did want to go ahead and drop in the chat. Let me pull it up. I went ahead and made it fillable for you all because this was just something we had in our in-person workshops. But now you can go ahead and fill it as a PDF online. So I just shared it in the chat with everyone. I just want to make sure y'all, sorry, this PowerPoint is going crazy. But basically, I wanted to drop it in the chat. You can download it and feel free to follow along throughout the rest of our presentation and set SMART goals for yourself for each of the 4 steps. So, right, we've always heard of SMART goals. They're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. This is a great workshop for keeping track of those throughout your presentation and throughout your college career. So let's say you want to get an internship. That's your first goal. What steps do we need to take specifically to get there, and how are we going to hold ourselves accountable? So feel free to download that worksheet and use it for anything. Use it for your classes, use it for your work goals, use it for your personal goals. Anything that you can think of, this is a really great resource for you. And we have more resources on our website, on the SARC website, and then there's a little tab that says SARC Online. This is where all of our worksheets and our learning skills resources are for you. So if you ever need to need a little bit more guidance, or you're a person who likes to write things down and keep track of things that way, it's a great resource for you all. So feel free to follow along with that worksheet.
All right, so I want all of you to think, and if you would like to chat, what is your career goal? So some of you probably have known that I read from Javier that he already knows even where he wants to work, right? So like he started UCF because he had this goal, and it's so specific that specifically, what industry and what organization you want to work with. So some of you may be there, but many of you may still be unsure, but you may have ideas of your strengths things that you like to do. So I want you to think and maybe either write in the chat, maybe write for yourself what your career goals are, or what interests you. What are some fields that are super interesting to you? All right, so that would be the first step so we can kind of go through the rest of this. So if anyone wants to chat, that'd be great. But we're gonna go right along. If we can go to the next slide. And the reason I want you to think about that, either what your goal is or what are some possible avenues for a future career, is because it's really important. I think one of the main things is to start with the end in mind. That doesn't mean that you need to know exactly what you want to do, even though that's great that you do. I will say, I think that in some ways we're all trying to figure out what we want to do when we grow up, even when we're grown up. That's my perspective, right? Like we're always kind of thinking about maybe I want to check that out or I want to do that. So it's a continuous process of growth. But I think it's important to start considering what that next step is. And if you don't know, or even if you do know, find out more about it. Okay, so career services, they have incredible resources in finding out, like they have links and information in finding out about careers, how much they pay, where you can get connected, networking events, etc. So career services, it's a great resource for that. Internet searches, that's what everyone, I think most of us do, right? So trying to figure out, okay, I think that I might like to be this, right? What does that look like? Who does it? And getting more information. And I think really the key is connecting with people who do that thing. Okay. And we'll talk about the continuous growth of that. But I think a really great first step is for you to talk to people who do the things that you want to do. So Javier, I'm going to pick on you just because you connected with us. But hopefully, people, or you can talk to faculty who have worked with students because you came here because, we're close to NASA. We have relationships. We have a great aerospace, major here and graduate program. And they've been connected to lots of people who they've sent to NASA and other aerospace agencies, right? So the goal would be find out who's an alumni of UCF and works at NASA and connect with them, ask them what it's like, ask them what kind of education they've had. You want to make sure that you are well informed about what that career is like. Jessica, I don't know if you have anything else to add to this slide before we go to the next one and continue.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so I'm actually in an internship right now for my degree program, and I am doing informational interviews as we speak. So what this consists of for me is I'm interning in an advising office. So all of the advisors in that office, I set up a 30-minute to an hour-long interview. I just have 4 questions that I have set, and I ask them all the same 4 questions. And I just see what they want to tell me about, their position, what they do in that position, and any other tasks that they have in their office. What does a day in the life of being an academic advisor look like for them? So on top of that, I also ask them, how did you get started in this career? What is your background in? And from those conversations, you can see, who you're honestly building a network for yourself as well during these informational interviews. Because if let's say they worked at a university that I want to go to in the future, I can ask them a little bit more about that culture, their past there, maybe even things that one of the questions I always like to ask is what you like most about your role and what do you like least about your role. Maybe from those clues you can find out maybe this is somewhere where I want to go in my career path, or maybe this isn't much for me because I'm not really identifying and clicking with what this person is having to say. So informational interviews are honestly a great way to get to know other people in the field, and they can, later connect you to people who can get you started in your career, even if they want to set you up with more informational interviews, with their boss, with their recruitment in HR and things like that. So that way, maybe this could lead to a potential internship for yourself. So informational interviews are very, very beneficial, even if that means it's not exactly what you thought the career field would be. It still gives you an idea of where you might want to go next.
And one last thing I want to just make sure to touch on is, I know it can be intimidating, right? Like when it sounds so easy, go and reach out to someone and ask them to meet with you. What I always tell students to think about when they get intimidated is, what if someone, like for those of you who went to, well, everyone went to high school, but those of you who went to transfer institutions, right? What if someone from that high school or your state college reached out to you and they were like, I want to be just like you one day. I want to transfer, I want to go to UCF and I want to follow your major. I heard from someone that you're fantastic. Would you mind, spending a few minutes with me? Would you be like, oh my gosh, why are they bothering me? Right? Like that's not how it is, right? Like you would be probably like very willing to do it. And honestly, the worst thing that happens is that they say no. I tell students, like, if you want to be like Oprah, email her. Likely she might not get back to you, but what if she does, right? And what is the worst thing that can happen if you reach out to the people that you want to be like, that you admire, right? Or that are in those fields? Honestly, the worst thing that can happen is that they don't get back to you, right? So I really encourage you to think about, sending those emails. And there's offices, I'm sure, the peer coaches at SARC and at AAP and some other offices that can help you take a look at those emails to make sure that they sound okay. You can ask a peer and, send those out. Don't be shy to do that. And so some of the things, so for the next slide, you want to ask questions that will lead you to finding out what should you be doing right now to be a great candidate for that thing. Okay, so trying to figure out, whatever it is, whether it's a job or it's grad school or it's professional school, you're going to have to market yourself at one point. But what they really want to know is, what have you done as an undergraduate to demonstrate to us that you're committed to, this field, this type of job, this goal that you have for grad school. So what you want to demonstrate is that you've been consistently working throughout your undergraduate time to become a great candidate for this, right? So having these informational interviews where you ask them, what could I be doing? What programs can I be learning? What languages? Like what kinds of experiences should I be having in order to be a great candidate to do what you do? And getting that insight information, right? From the people who actually do that thing and who hire people to do that is really, really key. For us, we prepare students for grad school. Students are always like, well, what GPA should I have? And you have like this idea in your head. The reality is, when you come to college, and because you guys are interested in so many different things, you need to be the expert on what you need to get to the grad program in your field that you're interested in, right? We do guide you towards grad school, but it's different if we're talking to someone who, like Javier, is interested in aerospace, maybe in a master's program in aerospace or a PhD, which, Javier, I can help you if you're interested in any of those things. But so like it's different for that than if you're going into chemistry or biology, or if you are going into an MBA, like or social work, what that requires the GPA, right? All of them require you to have, ideally, and most opportunities will require you to have a pretty good GPA, a 3.0 for many opportunities, but whether it needs to be closer to a 4.0, like for med school, or you could be, in a 3.0 or a little bit lower, but with extra experiences and be okay. It depends on your field, and asking people who are in that field matters, right? So for certain fields, it may be more important that you do research or that you do internships, right? Like for engineering, if you're not planning to go to a graduate degree or maybe just getting your master's, perhaps internships is going to be way more important than having a 4.0 GPA, right? But you need to figure out for you, what is the right combination of grades and experiences that will make you the best candidate for that field. And the earlier that you find that out, the better. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about that.
You honestly wrapped up a lot of it for me. The resources on campus is definitely something I want to stress, because a lot of the time we don't know what is really out there for us until we go and look. It's very, very simple to find what resources we have available to us. So if you just want to drop in the chat, how did you find out about this workshop today? I really want to know. I'm curious because I know I've put it on social media. We have emailed our campus partners on, you know, how distribute this to your students. We have our web courses that you are automatically enrolled in if you're in one of our classes. So how did you all find out about the workshop today?
All right. So, yep, I mean, really for this, I think what connects it is find out what it takes to be competitive for the types of opportunities that you want in the future. All right. So we'll go to the next one.
And in the chat, they had said, you know, through my advisor, through the link program. So those resources that you already have, they're already plugging you to these. Go a step further, maybe follow some departments that you're interested in on social media. They have so many resources that they post about, and it can really help you through your academic degree program. For this slide, I was just going to talk a little bit more about SARC, the Student Academic Resource Center, where I am from. So basically what SARC offers for you is peer tutoring. So we have in group settings right now, we're doing some subjects in person and some subjects online. We also, you can also see if your major specific courses are offered through supplemental instruction. So supplemental instruction is a little bit different from group tutoring. So SI leaders are assigned to your classes specifically. So let's say you have Dr. Johnson for chemistry, and Dr. Johnson's teaching style is a little bit different and you're not really sure. That SI leader sits in on Dr. Johnson's classes with you and works with him on his syllabus. So they will be able to give you specific pointers on anything that you're going over in the class that you're actually sitting in. So it's a little bit more in depth than peer tutoring, which is more of a general knowledge and general help that you would need in your courses. You can always make an appointment with an ACE coach. Our Kiara, our ACE coordinator, is here with us today. But basically, academic coaching and engagement is what this stands for. ACE, you can make a one-on-one appointment with an ACE coach through Zoom right now. And basically, they help you with not the academic side of things, but how you're actually managing your time. What study skills do you have? Do you need to develop better study habits? I'm struggling with balancing, you know, my work and school life. How do you think I should do that? What other specific resources do I have available to me to be able to, they will connect you to different resources on campus as well, as I was talking about earlier. And something new with ACE coaches is they're also deemed online instructional peer coaches. So they will also help you navigate web courses. Anything with this remote environment, we know that can be a difficult transition for most students. So they can also give you tips and tricks on things like that. Attending an academic success workshop, you're already here at this one. So attending these, we have these every semester. Sometimes we change up our topics. Next semester, we'll have a completely new schedule. So be sure to check our website for that. And then make sure you're visiting online for our virtual resources. So SARC Online, as I mentioned before, is where you can find the worksheets that we have. We also have the services tab on our actual website. There's a lot of different resources and you can get a little bit more in depth about what we offer and how we offer it in the current semesters. Sometimes this PowerPoint doesn't work. There we go.
All right. So this is kind of like the heart of what we want to tell you to do, right? So we want you to connect with people, do informational interviews, but ultimately for a lot of these opportunities, how you demonstrate that you've been actually like working towards building your skills and knowledge is by doing, right? Like by exposing yourself to experiences and having people be able to vouch for you within those experiences, right? So it doesn't, and again, it doesn't matter whether you're thinking that you want to get a job after you graduate, or you think that you want to go to grad school or professional school. All of those opportunities are going to ask you for references, recommendation letters. These will be required, right? So like you will need at least 3 references. Typically for most jobs that can talk about things that you have done, right? That can vouch for you and your character. And the same for grad school. We always tell students you want at least 2 faculty recommendation letters, and one other, which may be a faculty or a staff member or someone that you've worked with. So, and for professional school, if you're thinking of med school, any of you, that will be even more, right? Like if you work with PHPL to get your application packets, I think they require 5, 2 science, 1 non-science, 1 from here, 1 from there. So these are things that you want to know. So the way that people can talk about you at length, the way that people are able to vouch for you and the qualities that you have is by having had the opportunity to see that and work with you, where you can demonstrate to them who you are in that sense, right? So also, with that, I always kind of start talking about like, well, references and recommenders, but if you form these type of relationships, whether through research, through internships, through work, other opportunities, you are creating a support system. These are people that you can talk about things within the field. These are people who are going to guide you through, who are going to pick you up and support you, right? Along with also being invested in helping you market yourself, maybe connecting you to their own networks, as Jessica had mentioned. They will provide you opportunities. People always think that, okay, if I'm the best candidate, then I will be hired, right? But ultimately, all that you have to show for being a good candidate is a piece of paper that other people may have written better, right? So having people that can vouch for you, that can make a call to your hiring manager and say that, that hiring manager may know, and for them to use their own credibility and their own connection with that person to say, this person is amazing. You should really look at them. You should really interview them. That means so much. The same for grad school, right? You can write a great personal statement and say that you're the best thing since sliced bread. But when other PhDs or when other people within your field say they are amazing, you need to interview this candidate, you need to accept this candidate into grad school, that means something else, right? So those connections, those networks really add to your own, marketing and worth in the field, right? That's why it's so important. I think sometimes students think, okay, I will do that internships, or I will take this job, and maybe they might not take it so seriously because they just think I need to write it down in this resume. But keep in mind that you're building your reputation, right? It's not just what you do at this internship and it's done. No, like you will have to use them as a reference. So how you build your reputation will be how they speak about you. And if you're able to build a very strong reputation, they will feel comfortable lending you their own reputation to send you forward, right? So for example, if I have a student who is fantastic, that works with me, that's a fantastic scholar, maybe they've volunteer with us, maybe they help us, they're a peer leader and they're amazing. I am not shy about emailing people, contacting them, writing them letters. But if I have another student who I may love them, but they are not doing what they're supposed to do in their work, right? If they're always late and this and that, I am not gonna put my brand out there for them. I am not gonna feel comfortable writing them a strong recommendation letter because my reputation matters, because I have other students that I need to connect, right? Does that make sense? So you building your own brands as someone who is building yourself for this field is really important. So every single experience, every single connection matters. People know each other, right? So that's one of the important things. These experiences will help also you clarify your goals. I've had so many students who've done internships, and maybe they thought they wanted to be a doctor and they realized that they hated blood. So we needed to rethink what that would look like. Because even in the best of cases, they'll have to deal with it. And if you pass out every time that you see blood, that's a problem. Or, I've had students who thought they wanted to be an administrator of some kind, maybe at a hospital. And after doing that, they're like, I don't think this is the right path for me. And other ones have loved it, right? And they're like, this is definitely, the right thing for me. Many students, actually, even engineering students in aerospace have done some internships where they're like, okay, this is not what I want to do. I want to create new things. That means I need to at least get my master's, if not my PhD, so I can create new things and be in that side of things, as opposed to in this one, more following someone else's orders, right? So doing these internships, talking to people, we will help you for sure figure out, am I going in the right path, or do I need to kind of move things around? That doesn't mean you need to change your major, because I always say the experiences that you do for many fields is more important than the major. It really depends on your major, right? Like if you want to be an engineer, then you need to you need to be a professional engineer, right? But for some other ones, you may be able to have a major in one field, but actually your experiences may take you in a different path to getting a job in that other field, right? So that's important. Also, we always hear about students graduating and not being able to secure jobs. Part of the reason for that, and students complain, and I see this, they'll be like, how are they asking me for experience when I just graduated? And I can't even, because there are students who are able to get experiences even as undergraduates and those networks that make them more competitive, versus students, you may have a 4.0, but you didn't have those experiences. And so maybe you need to start entry level, or maybe even, it may be hard for you to go into that career that you have that degree for, that so many other people also have that degree, right? So really thinking about, what things you can do. And I know this might be more difficult for some of us than others, right? Like I was a first generation student. I'm so passionate about this, because what happened to me after I graduated with pretty much straight A's from my college, and I went to a very small college, was pretty much straight A's. I graduated top of my class, like all that good stuff. Actually was super involved on campus, and I was unemployed, and I was at my parents' homes at my parents' home after I graduated, because I had never thought about what was going to happen after I graduated. I just thought about getting through college, right? And so I never really gained those experiences in the fields that I actually thought I was interested in. And we want you to utilize UCF and all its resources so you get some of those experiences. And I know that can be hard for some of us, but we'll talk about some things that you can do. For example, if you get work study or the Florida Work Experience program, if you qualify for that, you could possibly get paid to do undergraduate research or to do work in an office that may be similar to your goals, right? So that's something to think about. And there may be paid opportunities to do some of these things. So, working with our offices will help you figure out if there's a way that you can manage getting some of these really great experiences, so that you have the skills and knowledge necessary to take that next step. That was a really long-winded piece. I don't know, Jessica, if you have anything else for this slide.
Yeah, I'll just add something small because right now I am actually in a graduate program. So before applying to my program, I had to think about some of these things. And one of the key things that I wanted to mention was a lot of my experiences, not my academic background, my experiences are what led me to where I am today. My undergraduate degree is in hospitality management, and now I am in an educational leadership master's program. So completely different, but it was from my undergrad experience and the extracurriculars that I did, my internships at the Rosen College. I had 3 internships. My first one was being on the orientation team for UCF. My second one was working at the student union and guest services for 2 years. And my third one was being a camp counselor for students who are incoming into the hospitality major from high school. So I actually mentored some students coming from high school in a summer camp for 2 weeks. So basically, out of all of those experiences, I realized, I'm really passionate about student affairs, and this is where I want to be. Rather than serving students or serving people in the hospitality industry, I wanted to serve students on a college campus. So that's really even my experiences changed my outlook and changed what I want to do in my future. And from those experiences, I was able to speak to them in my personal statement on my application. I was able to speak to them in my graduate assistant internship interviews. So though a lot of our experiences are really what builds us to who we want to be today and can also change our path. Maybe you are entering, let's say you're a sophomore and you entered and you wanted to be business, yet you do let's say you needed an internship for your business. So you wanted to go into marketing for this and you really like the marketing side of things, and that's something that you never thought that you would go into. So basically our experiences do shape who we are as a person and give us more of a path and a clear path in developing our skills and things like that for what we want to do in our future.
Thank you. All right, so we have, and we're going to talk about some of these. Some of these we're not going to go into depth, but I just wanted to let you know, I think all of these are within our division. And so you can reach out to Jessica or myself to learn more about them. And we are, Jessica, I'm going to send you this whole list of resources that have links to all of these things that we sent after this workshop. But so we have, if you're interested in grad school, there's our office. Obviously, if you need academic support, SARC is there for you. If you're interested in professional school, pre-health and pre-law advising, we'll talk about these, internships, co-ops, jobs, experiential learning, and also career services, research experiences, the Office of Undergraduate Research, and for those of you interested in international experiences, study abroad. All right, and we'll go more into these.
So again, talking a little bit more about SARC. So I wanted to kind of get a little bit more in depth about what those services look like for you. So the peer tutoring for group and one-on-one help, we mostly do STEM subjects. As I said before, right now we're offering a hybrid. So we have some specific courses in person. Our group tutoring lab is open, but you have to register for the sessions. They're limited at 10 people. You must always wear your mask, and we have the desk set up socially distanced. So we are following the CDC guidelines, and we have we're going to be adding a little bit more subjects in the spring semester, but right now we only have about 3 in person. And then also all of our tutoring sessions are offered online via Zoom. You can find the schedules on our WordPress site. It's just UCF SARC peer tutoring. If you just Google, honestly, a lot of the SARC resources, they just pop up because we have like over 1,000 hits on our WordPress page because those students use those resources so much. So basically, the peer tutoring is there for you as more of a general overview. Let's say you're in Chemistry 2 and you need a refresher on Chemistry 1. You can head on into the Chemistry 1 peer tutoring session whenever it's going on, and you don't have to be actually enrolled in that class to go to the tutoring for it. You can get a base knowledge, you can go over your past knowledge, and anything like that. So the tutors are always there to help you. For supplemental instruction, like I said before, this is a little bit different. So supplemental instruction, these SI leaders, they hold 15-minute review sessions after class. They do this 4 times a week. So let's say you only have the class 2 days a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, from 1 to 2:30. Sometimes, most of the time, they try to schedule it right after the class. So let's say at 2:50, they're going to start a 50-minute review session, or let's do an even number, at 3 p.m. after your 2:30 class. They're going to give you a little break to go get a snack, maybe something to eat, walk around campus for a bit. At 3 o'clock, they have a 50-minute review session where right now SI is all through Zoom. In the spring, I think they're adding in-person subjects, so be sure to check our updated schedules in the spring. But basically, they will have 15-minute review sessions. They'll sit in the Zoom for 50 minutes, 4 days a week. So Monday through Thursday, they'll have those sessions for you. Sometimes they do hold them on Friday as well. So everyone's schedule is a little bit different, but SI leaders are the ones that are physically in the classes with you, so they know exactly what material you're going over that week. If you didn't understand a concept in the class and you didn't end up raising your hand or asking the professor, the SI leaders are there to help you specifically for your courses. ACE coaching, again, individualized help with time management, study skills, and other academic support. So this is kind of going back to what I was saying before with these ACE coaches are trained to send you to other resources on campus as well. If it's not something that they can help you with, although they're highly trained with time management and study skills and study habits and things of that nature, and also with the online component of navigating web courses. If you give them your course syllabi, they'll be able to map out the semester for you, you know, what you should be doing for being online in your courses. They'll help you map out the rest of your semester doing that. So getting that individualized help can really kind of steer you in the right direction. Maybe if you feel a little bit lost, they're always there to help you. And I've personally heard some great feedback from those sessions. I was an ACE coach back in the day whenever we were in person. So I had a couple of people in my ACE appointments, and it's just a great program. They really help you through the academic experience. And then also academic success workshops. So like we said, this is what you're attending now. We have some great other resources on our website. So our website's there, academicsuccess.ucf.edu/shark/services, and you'll be able to see exactly what we offer there. And if you ever need any of the schedules, need links to the WordPress site or anything like that, you can always find those on the website as well. And follow us on social media, because we always do shout outs for what we're doing for the day. You get to meet our SI leaders, ACE coaches, our tutors. We always spotlight them on our page. So it's a great resource to just stay connected as well.
All right, so this is kind of like my page, because it's kind of highlighting my office. But actually, for any of you who are interested in graduate or professional school, we really, I mean, if you want a master's, PhD, then academic advancement programs, which is my office, is the office that you want to connect. And I do have the link on the next page. If you're interested in pre-health or pre-law professions, then if you haven't visited PHPL, pre-health and pre-law advising, you should connect with them, right? And just some of the, we offer many different services, but some of the things that we have in common, that we offer in common, is that we provide graduate and professional school advising. Through AAP, we have our peer advisors for graduate school that you can meet with, and we will send that link for sure afterwards with that information. They're a great way to get connected with us. For PHPL, they have professional advisors that you can meet with, and usually they do get pretty busy. You may need to wait a little bit to see them, but I recommend, if you're interested in professional school, to set up a meeting as soon as possible, because they will help you assess where you are in regards to preparing for that program, for applications towards that program. Okay, this is especially true of medical school, but any of them. Also, both of our offices invite representatives from graduate and professional programs to come and speak to our students, right? So we have for AAP, I think we have MIT, we had it yesterday. MIT came, Cornell, Brown, we have all of the graduate schools. We've sent them some great students to do summer research and to do graduate school at some of these Ivy League programs. And so now they want our students and they come. And also we have graduate fairs. And for pre-health and pre-law advising, they also invite very great programs, medical programs, law programs, other types of programs to come visit and try to recruit UCF students, but you need to get on their listserv, because that's where they will send you information. For AAP, we'll send that information, but you can join our social media, or you can just check out our website for all of our programs. For PHPL, you want to go to their front page and sign up for that. But we have great people who come visit, and you can get connected with them. You can network with them and find out more about how you can become a great candidate for their programs. We also have various forms of resources or information about funding. So I know that pre-health and pre-law advising, they sometimes have, they provide practice tests for MCAT, for example. Maybe there are scholarships that they'll be advertising, and some other great resources that are sent to them that they will send out to students. Again, you want to be in their listserv. For AAP, we have access and program. It's called Pre-Grad Nights, where if you complete everything, you get the possibility of getting selected to get a free Magoosh practice, GRE practice course, and a scholarship, etc. So we provide various sources of resources. In AAP, we also have programs that you can be a part of if you're interested in grad school, that you can apply if you qualify for them to get funded to do your research, or to get funded to do a summer research experience, right? So come and find out more about us because we have resources for you. And finally, guidance for the application process. So both of our offices will provide guidance. PHPL has mock interviews. We basically walk you through the whole application process through workshops and other resources. So you definitely want to connect with us. And then the next page just has our links. So aap.ucf.edu and phpladvising.ucf.edu. Those are our websites. The best way to connect with pre-health and pre-law is to and AAP is to meet with our advisors and attend workshops. Those are the two best ways, and we'll send you links afterwards about how you can do that. And then our next resource that I'll talk briefly about is Undergraduate Research. They have peers that can walk you through all of this, but if you think that you need research for whatever you want to do, connect with the Office of Undergraduate Research. They have programs on helping you get started with research. They have funding for research. They also can guide you as to how you can get credit, or even just have it on your transcript if you don't want to take the research for credit but want it to show up. So they have all kinds of funds, resources to help you travel to do research, to pay you, to award you. So definitely connect with the Office of Undergraduate Research. And if you can go to the next slide, their website is our.ucf.edu. Here are the ways to get involved and get started. They even have a web course where you can learn how to get started with research and attending their workshops. And we'll send you a link to their most updated workshops. Everything's online. Meeting with their peers is online. Workshops are online. Obviously, their web course is online. So we definitely want you to get connected to them. If you're interested, this is incredibly important for students interested in med school. You will need to do a research experience, but it's also a great way for you to get connected to a faculty member in a way that will help them get to know who you are. Even if you're not interested in research or grad school, conducting research is really important. Another way that you can do it is not through our division, but it's through doing an honors in the major thesis or honors undergraduate thesis with the honors college. That's another great way to get research experiences. And experiential learning and career services. So these offices, as you can tell, their job is to get you connected to on the ground internships or co-ops. Some of them will pay you to do it. Some of them may be volunteer to help you experience prospective fields. It is their job. I often tell students that you are, whether it's through financial aid or whether you are working to pay for your education, not only are you paying to go to classes, but you are paying for us to help you through these services. So you want to make sure that you take advantage of them. And experiential learning, their job, they have faculty advisors that will help you get connected to opportunities in your field. For both of these, and you can you can read here some of the experiences that they have, but they have so much more. For both of these, you will need to get on, and is it on the next slide? Handshake. I think maybe you can go to the next slide. Yeah. So Handshake, that's how they set up their meetings for appointments, how you can look to see what opportunities are available. You submit resumes, etc. So get on Handshake, check out what they have, and don't be shy about meeting with the professional staff that they have so that they can help you navigate how you're going to become more competitive for that next step. That's why, we are here for you. You're paying for these services. You're working hard to make sure that you get to that next step. Don't make it harder on yourself. Get support so you can make sure that you take advantage of these things. And then market yourself, right? So once you get all these opportunities and you connect with people and they know you, one important thing that a lot of people don't think about, and that tends to be super hard for undergraduate students, is selling themselves, kind of, right? And I have for grad school, the way that you do that is through these statements of purpose or personal statements where you talk about yourself. For med school, part of that is a statement of purpose and also an interview. You will have interviews for jobs. And so it's so important for you to think about not only do something, but also reflect, right? How, you know, how can I connect to people in a way that makes sense? All right. So creating an elevator speech, and there's workshops that career services has on that, and probably so many other offices. Another way that you market yourself is resume or CV. How can I do that in the best way to actually reflect the experiences that I've had? So that's super important. You should have a resume from the time that you're a first year student and grow with that throughout your career life, right? So working on your resume and CV. And one tip that I have, like I said, is for you to journal. Start writing down, okay, I'm doing this internship or I'm have this job. What skills am I learning? How am I growing? What characteristics do I have that make me really good at doing this? And make sure to journal, put it on the side. So when you are either working on your resume or when you're working on interviews or when you're working on writing your statements, you have these things to help you navigate through. But also, working with office like us that will push you to be, I always tell my students whenever they come see me, I'm always like, this is okay, but it could be so much better because I know that you're amazing, right? And so even working with the people that you did internships or work and saying, what do you think are the qualities that I bring? What do you think are some really strong things that I did? They can be your help, your support system to make sure that these pieces where you're going to market yourself are really, really strong. And now something that is important that we recommend that you look at is developing an academic electronic portfolio. That's something that a lot of places now anticipate and expect, but it's also a way that if you put this together, even if you don't use it a lot, that you have had the opportunity to think through and digest everything that you've done and how that prepares you for that next step, which will help you be stronger when you have those interviews or when you meet with people and are trying to network for a job. All right. So marketing is really important. We have Knights of Distinction program at UCF that I will send you information on. They're reworking some things, but they help you think through this. How do you think about the experiences that you have and are able to articulate those for whatever you want to do? So we'll include some resources on that. And that's basically, we went through all the steps. Jessica, I don't know if there's anything else that you want to talk about with this slide.
Yeah, I think we just wanted to put this in here to just do a little quick overcap. So your first thing you're going to do is starting with the end in mind. This is where we said that you're going to do your internet searches on, what do I need to do to get into this career, or what specific track do I want to get into? And this is also the step where we talked about your informational interviews and things of that nature. The second step is getting academic support. So what resources on campus can work for me to help me, achieve my more, I want to say, technical things like your GPA, although it's not just that what we need to focus on, we also need to focus on building our network and gaining experiences. So that's why that was our third step that we talked about, getting that experiential learning opportunity, using those resources, those offices that we talked about to get you connected with others in the field. And then marketing yourself. So when are you actually going to get that job? What are you going to do to prepare for the interview, your CV, your resume, and things of that nature? Are you going to prepare your elevator speech? How are you going to market yourself to these companies or to these schools that you're going to be attending? So it's your degree, it's your future, and you need to make it count.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's what I want to encourage you all to think about is, a lot of times, maybe some class is hard and some faculty is not so nice, or you face someone or a negative experience, but ultimately you are here because you want this degree that you're getting to help you get to that next step, right? So it is you need to take that internal locus of control, that grit, and figure out ways. I know it's not always easy, and I know we make it sound like, just get this done. I know it's complicated, and it can get complicated, depending on your personal circumstances and all of that, but it's incredibly important that you connect with people at UCF, so that we can try and figure out together how you can make it work so that you have that future that you're envisioning, right? So that you can step right into it and not have to struggle afterwards. So what I want to say is, take the lead in your own life and start thinking on yourself, what things can I do? Who can I connect with? Who can help me in this journey? So that I do what I need to do, regardless of obstacles that may come my way.
So contact us if you ever need, and if you need anything from this PowerPoint, please feel free to reach out. Both of our emails are just our first and our last name with a period. So mine's jessica.waits@ucf.edu. Please, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. We're located in Trevor Colburn Hall, room 117, my office is, and then Natalia is right upstairs in Trevor Colburn Hall, room 205. So we have the number is actually changed a little bit. It's a Zoom number now, so that you can find that directly on our website as well. And feel free to follow us on social media. Like I said before, we always do announcements when we're going to have our next workshop and things like that. Natalia, if you want to talk a little bit more.
Well, we're all virtual right now, and I think for the time being, for these services will be virtual, but we have so much going on. So I highly recommend that if you're interested in AAP, that you connect with our office. I can also get you connected to some of the other offices. So if you're here at this workshop, you can email me directly, natalia.toro@ucf.edu, and I can get you connected. Yeah, like we're here to support you. And like I said, we will send you resources after this workshop so that you can find everything that we've been talking about.
So thank you so much. That was the end of our workshop. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.